sometimes people are so cynical these days, as though other generations owed us something. Cynicism is just an excuse for not helping, and whining is not an option. And getting all traumatized about how bad things are, we are not porcelain dolls. We need to identify the problems in this country, but we need to identify with the problem solvers. Now, what I have seen in my career is what happens when people fall down. People don't usually come to me because things are going well. By the time somebody ends up on my couch talking to me about what's going on in their life, it's after they've already talked to all the people who could fix it on the outside, and they are ready. They've gotten to a point in their life when they're ready to transform things from the inside out. And all that a country is a group of people. So the same psychological and emotional and moral and spiritual principles that prevail within the journey of an individual prevail within the journey of a nation. Each and every one of us have to remember that if something's going wrong in our lives, we have to look to ourselves for what part we played in all this. Everything that we're talking about here tonight in terms of the problems of America are like opportunistic infections. They could not have happened had we had a stronger immune system. Each and every one of us is an immune system. You can't complain that the thieves of democracy are at the door when we left the windows open and we left the doors open. Too many of us were too cool to care. Too many of us thought, well, I'm just not really political. Too many of us actually used an ersatz version of spirituality to justify political disengagement. Too many of us thought, well, other people will be political and other people will take care of it. Let me tell you, they've taken care of it plenty. They've taken care of it to the point where millions of American children go to schools that do not even have meet minimum safety requirements. There are millions of American children who go to school in classrooms where there are not adequate school supplies to enable the teacher to reasonably be expected to teach that child to read. And if that child cannot read by the age of 8, the chances of high school graduation are drastically decreased. If that child cannot learn to read by the age of 8, the chances of incarceration are drastically increased. But because those children do not work, they have no economic leverage in Washington. They're not old enough to vote, so they're not a constituency. So how can they possibly compete with the clout of corporate lobbyists that are flooding our Congress and our White House every single day? I'll tell you what that is. This is a moral problem. This is a spiritual problem. This is collective child neglect. These millions of American children who have no chance, we have simply normalized their despair. These millions of American children are living in situations that should be considered a national emergency. They should be considered a humanitarian crisis.